Hello, everybody, and welcome back. You know, Im, I've realized something.
What?
This is more like an audiobook reading than anything else between you and me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's still fun, and I like making the choices. It's just funny to think that that's literally what we're doing. We're just having an audiobook reading.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway.
That's what any visual novel like video is.
Yeah.
Fuck Angela. You could you can tell I'm desperate. My first instinct was come to you. No loss, and now attribute that decision to what's left of your common sense.
He leans over to you.
Hey kid. I think we should call it a night. Just give me some time to talk to the girl. Maybe I'll get through to her somehow.
The sign! The sign! It's always there!
Though I ain't holding my breath.
Yeah. Honestly, you're glad. Honestly, you're glad to leave him to it. Spending the night in a tiny room with a tiny serial killer somehow doesn't seem too appealing. Still, you're hoping D'Angelo will be alright. He's got some tough choices ahead of him. Okay. Shit. Who do
Alright.
we visit next?
Well, there's somebody watching me.
Yeah,
Don't know who that is.
we might want to figure out our tale just in case they're dangerous. Although they did save us, but they could be saving us just so that we lead them to
Oh, we
what they're
don't know
really
what
up to.
motives they have.
So we should probably meet them. Yeah?
Yeah.
Although... fuck it. You're in your haven when the intercom rings. Answering cautiously, you hear an older male voice. Hello? I'm calling because a friend asked me to come by and offer you my services. What do you mean, services? Services. You know what I'm talking about. The man sounds Oh.
Oh. This is the next thing.
I need something to go on. She told me not to talk about these things in public. I know you're one of them. Please, it's alright. I don't mind. You can drink with me, if you understand what I mean. A man you've never seen before is paying a visit to an apartment not many people know of, offering for you to feed from him.
This
We should talk
is...
to him. Let's continue this face to face. That's a wonderful idea. Silence. A minute passes, and you hear a knock at the door of your haven. You cautiously open the door. The stranger looks at you sheepishly. He's in his 30s, dressed in a clean business suit. He looks moderately successful, someone you could meet at an investment bank. I'm sorry, I didn't want to be rude, so that's why I called from downstairs.
Please leave.
I'm curious. You know what? Come in. I was hungry anyway. The man looks comically satisfied as you usher him into your haven. This is a trap for sure. He barely waits for you to close the door before he loosens the collar of his shirt, closing his eyes and bares his neck in quivering expectation. Take me. Oh. You look at the man, taken aback by such
rips his shirt off. Take me.
Thinking that you didn't invite the man here for a chat, you lean in closer, take him by his shoulders, and he's drugged. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to drink from him, and it's going to knock my ass out. This is not an unpleasant way to feed. You reflect as the blood flows in your mouth. The food comes to your door of its own volition. The man moans as you drink from him. Lost in the ecstasy is the kiss. It feels a little unseemly, but it would be churlish to begrudge him his pleasures. Taking care not to drink too much, you let go of the man after licking his wounds closed. Shit. Suddenly, you're startled by a surprising sight. A woman, not very old, strangely dressed, is looking at you intently, only an arm's length away. Before you can react, the mysterious woman opens the front... Oh, it was a test. The mysterious woman opens your front door and vanishes from sight, leaving you to wonder whether you really saw her at all. As you stare confused, the man you drank from slips out of your haven and into the hallway, staggering a little from the effects of the kiss. You close your door, wondering what that was all about. At least you got to feed, if nothing else.
I hope that's not a Second Inquisition member.
No, that was vampiric speed, if I had to guess. So whoever we're dealing with is a Cain, or kindred, whatever the fuck. Okay, no special thingies this time, just people. Who should we go for, Im?
I'm mostly curious about Anna.
Anna? Which one was this? Anna.
Oh, D'Angelo.
Oh, Sana. Right, yeah. Okay, D'Angelo. It's been some time since you last visited Red Hook. You should probably get back to D'Angelo and see if he's managed to figure out how to handle Sana. Guess it
I'm
couldn't
curious
hurt.
about what's gonna happen.
I don't think we ever figured out this dude, though.
Nope.
We should probably square things away with him in case there's like a cutoff point.
I suppose.
It might also help to know if we're actually weak to crosses and shit like that. You've started to look at churches differently since your last encounter with Benoit. You're not sure what happened inside, but it was unavoidably real. You felt it. When Benoit mentioned that being in the presence of Father Anthony's faith would eventually kill someone like you, an undead being, you believed him. It doesn't seem to be very common, though. In New York, you pass thousands of people every night, and none of them made you feel so afraid and insignificant. That's because he has the true faith, man. If you were to encounter someone like Father Anthony in the subway or nightclub, you would know. And you don't. There are many churches in the 5 boroughs, and you're pretty sure most of them don't contain someone whose faith can touch you this way. Yet you become wary. They just
Where
might.
Where did the faith touch you?
Show me on this doll. Sir, what? Still,
Show me this voodoo doll of you. Where did the faith touch you?
Still,
wait, why do you have that?
Tonight the cathedral looks as before, a striking landmark acting as a symbol of faith for people who have no idea that vampires exist in their midst. For them, questions of faith and myth are theoretical and philosophical. For you, those same questions suddenly define the meaning of your new existence. You sneak into the cathedral like an old hand. Actually, you know what? This makes a lot of sense. If Cain and the Bible is true, then so are angels and God and all that shit.
Yeah. Apparently werewolves. I remember.
Oh yeah, there's Werewolf the Apocalypse, that game.
Yeah, which I bought for $10.
Is it?
So we're gonna be going through that later.
Oh fuck yeah, it's gonna be awful.
Absolutely.
You sneak into the cathedral like an old hand, as if going to the church had been a regular part of your life. Inside, the cathedral is almost deserted. You're not sure if you'll be meeting Father Benoit alone. The idea of feeling Father Anthony's faith on your undead flesh freezes you with terror. Benoit is waiting for you in the front pews of the cathedral, in the exact same spot where you saw Father Anthony. Worried, you approach, but you don't feel the touch of the faith that shook you before. Benoit nods as you sit next to him in the pew. I have so many questions. I thought a lot about our last meeting. There are so many questions, and I'm not sure where I can find the answers. I can tell you some things, but you'll grow dissatisfied. What? Wait, no, hold on. What?
You give more of a Boston accent.
I can tell you some things, but you'll grow dissatisfied with me and want to find the answers of your own. That quest will never end. You've had some time to think, and I'm guessing you found the touch of Father Anthony's faith hard to ignore. For most people, God's presence is a question of faith. When I talk with Father Anthony, it feels like proof. Benoit is fervent, intense as he speaks. It's clear these questions have consumed his existence. Perhaps they'll consume yours too. I can't stop thinking about divine purpose. Yeah, what is God's plan for vampires? I can't get the idea of divine purpose out of my mind. I know how that feels. It's clear we're here for a reason, but why? Benoit looks around reflexively to make sure nobody's listening. There are only a few people in the enormous cathedral, and they don't seem to be interested in 2 loners murmuring to each other in the front pew. If I had to guess, it would be that, you know, there's always something in the food chain that feeds off of the next. You know. So, what hunts humans? Vampires, werewolves, supernatural beings. What hunts them? Bigger fish.
Other supernatural beings.
And then at the very top, you probably got God and his angels.
You got God himself.
You know?
Just there to keep the order.
Yep.
You got God holding the chain.
Benoit looks around reflexively to make sure nobody's listening. There are only a few people in the enormous cathedral, and they don't seem to be interested in 2 loners murmuring to each other in the front pew. It might seem like ancient history, things that happened thousands of years ago, but time works differently for our kind. If the stories are true, there are Methuselahs still in existence who walked the earth when Jesus was alive. The only problem is that old vampires lie. They adjust history to suit their egos. You can talk to different elders. Surely something was written down. I guess the Bible? Let's focus on what we can verify. I don't know.
Well, what can we verify? Most of this are just stories and legends.
Shouldn't we focus on what we can verify here and now? Our blood, the effects of Father Anthony's belief? I suppose that would be the scientific approach. Still, I can't let go of the idea that the old stories will tell us something. This is how the story goes. God cursed Cain as punishment for the murder of Abel. Cain walked the night, shunned by humanity, and drank blood to sustain himself. Even from the point of our origin, we are damned. However, the story becomes really interesting when we move forward. Cain creates more of our kind, often referred to as the second generation. The number of steps between a vampire and the mythical Cain, how far descended from the first a given vampire is. Low generations provide great power, just as it does stronger curse and hunger. Yeah, I remember hearing Dainty mention something about, like, vampires from the time of Moses are, like, so fucking powerful they need to be sealed away or something like that.
Interesting.
Because otherwise they can cause, like, apocalyptic cataclysms. They lived in the first city, later called Enoch, ruling openly over city's human inhabitants. I see the first city
Cain?
as Cain, maybe?
Or is he like a first generation?
No, Dracula would be Vlad Tepes. That's got to be at least third or fourth, maybe?
Well, we don't know.
Maybe fifth. I don't know. He's strong, though. I see the first city as Cain's redemption. Cursed by God to wander, he remade himself as a ruler and lawgiver, acting as an immortal shepherd to humanity. So, where's Cain now? Is he still around? It only started to go wrong when the second generation begat the third, and vampires started to run amok. So what happened to the third generation? Also known as antediluvians, who founded the great vampire clans. You can trace a direct lineage of blood to the antediluvian of your clan. Progenitors, members of the dreaded third generation, and the founders of the... Okay, so this is when shit started to fragment and splinter off, and then shit got out of hand. Interesting.
Yeah, I would assume Dracula's probably like a second generation, since Cain is the first.
That's a good question for Dainty, actually. You should ask her. We know much more about them than we know about the second generation. After the first city, Cain largely departs from the story. Perhaps he was disheartened by the depredations of his descendants. The antediluvians went on to build a second city in imitation of the first, but it's doubtful their rule was just. There are people moving in the cathedral, and both you and Benoit have made sure none get close enough to hear you talk. Many of the people you've seen have been elderly or disabled, so it's not surprising that you hear the squeak of a wheelchair. What alarms you more is that you overhear an older woman speaking with a Russian accent mention Father Anthony. Let's find Father Anthony and see if he can help us. From what I've heard, he is an exceptional man. You turn to look and see two men and a woman. All three are in their 50s and Oh, fuck. Can Father Anthony perform miracles?
I doubt that.
One of the men pushes a woman in a wheelchair. She's dark-haired and intense, seemingly only half in this world. Yeah, exceptional, but he doesn't like moles. The speaker is shorter than the men, more animated and worried. He's probably a strong man in his youth, perhaps even an athlete. His voice Midwestern accent. We're only interested in whether he likes blank bodies. What the fuck? Blank body? What the what? You and Benoit look at each other. This is bad news. Whoever these three are, they can't be good for you. We need to get out. Let's meet outside. Fuck, I lost the accent. I don't think that would be a good idea. Move discreetly to the side. Better not call attention to yourself. You decide to move to the side of the cathedral and pretend to pray at an altar. You walk casually to the side, away from the three approaching mortals. You feel their eyes boring into your back, but you force yourself to be cool. Benoit is nowhere to be seen. You blinked and he disappeared in a burst of speed. Son of a bitch. You worried it was too conspicuous, but maybe the mortals missed it. You pretend to admire architecture for a while before glancing back at the trio. They have settled the exact spot you just occupied, apparently waiting for something and conversing in hushed tones. Once you're sure their attention is elsewhere, you start walking briskly down the side aisle, towards the exit. That was a close call. Fuck you, Benoit. Who were those three? Did you recognize them? I might have. I'm not sure. There's talk of a few tenacious vampire hunters living in the city. One of them is supposed to be a woman in a wheelchair. For a second, Benoit looks at you as if he was wondering whether he should say something. There's one thing I've always wondered about the story of Cain. The traditions of the Camarilla put a lot of faith in the relationship between sire and child, eh? You're supposed to follow the example of your maker, yet Cain didn't really seem to care for the vampires he's embraced. Did he think it was a mistake to create our kind? My sire left me. Is that common in the kindred? Yes, unfortunately. The kindred are selfish and cruel. You know, I'm Sophie's child. Oh! Okay, this was a test then. I'm Sophie's child, and you're her protege. It's amazing that we share an appreciation for the mythologies of our kind, considering Sophie has a little interest in questions of the spirit. You stare at Benoit.
That explains why he's so interested in this.
And how he knew us to begin with. You knew there was something he wasn't telling you, but in all the talk about Cain in the first city, you forgot about it. Now the only question is, what does it mean? Does Sophie know her child, Day, is talking to you? Probably not. Don't hold it against me, but I admit finding some pleasure in seeing you suffer the effects of Father Anthony's faith. I suppose that's the demon in me. Potence. I'm not your enemy. I understand that you're bitter, Benoit. I'm not your enemy. I'm sorry, I know that. It's just that sometimes I get too tempted by sin. You know, shall we meet again? We've talked so much about myth, but maybe that's cowardly when the reality of faith is right in front of us. I'll introduce you to Father Anthony. You nod, unsure whether that's a good idea. Benoit walks away and you follow his example, not wanting to hang around the cathedral any longer.
From the way Benoit speaks, it seems like he talks to Father Anthony often.
Yeah, it seems like it. So how does he... Maybe you can build up some kind of immunity or a...
No, I doubt that. I think it's more just like he stays and talks for as long as he's able, and then like I have to leave, so he does. He talks to him for probably just a couple hours at most. At most, probably just 1 hour. It's like a few quick questions, trying to not show that being in Anthony's presence is just hurting him.
Yeah. Alright, you want to do D'Angelo?
Yeah.
As you make your way up the stairs, you notice that D'Angelo's office is surprisingly quiet. You were half expecting something akin to a scene from The Exorcist, with Senna belching out curses and your companion sprinkling her with, well, whatever it is vampires use for holy water. I don't know, blood?
Alcohol.
The bottle of vodka. Instead, as you open the door, is the picture of Serenity. The girl, although still curled up in the corner, is sitting calmly, with her eyes fixed on the pages of some pulpy detective novel. She doesn't even register your presence. Got them Hardy Boys books. Sitting behind his desk, D'Angelo seems to be looking over some files, puffing on his usual brand of cigar. Seeing no trace of Larson, you assume he must have gone back to his family. Noticing your presence, the vampire detective leans back in his chair and gives you a tired look.
Hey there, kid. I'm glad you could make it.
Oh, I wouldn't miss this for the world. You kidding? I wouldn't miss this for the world. Clearly noting your sarcasm, he hits back with a smile that could express anything but amusement.
Right. Make yourself comfortable. You have some heavy shit to figure out, you and I. We've been going over the case files, mulling over our options. Surprise, surprise. They all suck donkey dick. No matter how we go about this, someone gets fucked over. Her, Larson, us.
We have case files? Wait, did you say case files? We have those?
Hey, say what you will about me, but I take my work seriously. And as my faithful assistant, you should too. So here's what we can do. 1, we grab Sana and take her to Elysium. Make a case for her to Prince Panard.
That's not gonna go well.
2, we get Valerie to back off by feeding her the dirt I got on Larson. 3, we try to get Sana out of the city. Come on, kid, I can hear them thoughts bouncing around your head from over here. Out with it.
I mean, she's literally a murderer, so...
And if we leave her, like go have her leave the city, she's going to continue it somewhere else.
Yep, and that just leads problems for somebody else.
Which will just bring it back to here.
Elysium? Isn't that a death sentence? You want to bring Sana to Elysium. Isn't that pretty much a death sentence?
Pretty much, but not quite. If we can get an audience with Banhead, we can maybe be able to convince her to spare Sana's life.
Ah, shit. Things are getting interesting. Again. Alright, but we're gonna have to stop there for now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.
Adios.